This is the Washington Times front page for the first day of November, Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told senators the threats posed by China, Russia, Iran, and Hamas are all part of one fight that the U.S. and its allies must win. Ben Wolfgang reports Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin were pressing for passage of a comprehensive $106 billion aid deal in front of the Senate Appropriations Committee that would reach all corners of the globe. The package would include $14.3 billion for Israel, more than $61 billion for Ukraine in its fight against Russia, and $7.4 billion to defend Taiwan and fund other U.S. military priorities in the Pacific. That package faces a steep climb in the House. Skeptical Republicans aim to pass a standalone Israel funding bill and insist that any other portions, including support for Ukraine, be considered individually. Staying on Capitol Hill, FBI Director Christopher Wray told senators that terrorist threats against the U.S. reached a whole other level after the Hamas attack on Israel. Stephen Dinan reports Wray told the Senate Homeland Security Committee that the big players in terrorism have all renewed calls to attack America and its interests. Wray said al-Qaeda has issued its most specific call for attacks on the U.S. in years. Islamic State leaders have ordered followers to attack Jewish communities, and Hezbollah is eyeing U.S. targets in the Middle East. Wray added the greatest threat to the U.S. homeland remains lone actors or small cells of radicalized people using readily available weapons to attack soft targets. According to records found by the National Archives, President Biden sent thousands of emails under 3 pseudonyms during his time as vice president. Susan Ferricchio reports the archives has located 82,000 pages of White House documents in response to a lawsuit by the conservative Southeastern Legal Foundation that included 3 alias emails for the then vice president. In a preliminary court report, archives officials say they haven't turned over the documents yet, but are currently processing them and will produce non-exempt portions every month. House Democrats are under pressure to support a resolution condemning the spate of anti-Israel protests on college campuses. Alex Miller reports the bill is being fast-tracked to the floor for a vote under the suspension of the rules, which is a House procedure that requires 2/3 approval. That means the effort will need the support of a bulk of Democrats to advance in the Republican-led chamber. Republican and Democratic lawmakers and Biden administration officials have spoken out against the rash of incidents on college campuses. That includes demonstrations in support of Hamas, anti-Semitic graffiti, and threats against Jewish students. And finally, a special agent with the Department of Homeland Security told Missouri Senator Josh Hawley that agents have been pulled off of cases to help take care of migrants. Stephen Dinan reports Hawley said the agent and others are being told to halt investigations to hand out sandwiches and escort migrants to the shower, among other tasks at the southern border. Hawley said the agent estimated that some 600 other agents had been redeployed. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas did not explicitly rebut the agent's claims, but said his department has to balance competing needs. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.